Well, I don't know what to tell you guys except for that if I ever left YouTube, I feel like the whole website would crash. Google would crash. The stock market would crash. Everybody would just be poor. I mean, hell. I mean, if somebody can, if POTUS can say something like that about an impeachment, then I can say the same thing about YouTube because we know it's all true. It's true. So prepare yourself, guys. Chris with T3 Medias, and this is gonna be here we are. This is the movie show. This is We're at the movie show, and I want to just say that it's great to be here, and I'm glad that you're with me and to have this first show. It's an honor, it's a privilege to be able to entertain you with the man who knows a lot about a little and a little about a lot of things. So let's get started with the new segment. First segment is going to be it's old news, new news. So okay, so with old news, new news, let's talk about what we already know. We know about the MeToo movement. We know that there's been a lot of people who have been accused in the past of sexual assault or sexual harassment, and a lot of these people, they don't get punished. A lot of them just skate by for years. Women were not being heard. Remember with the R. Kelly thing, a lot of people attacked the little girl that was accusing or that was in that video and whatnot, whether or not he did it or not. Still, people are arguing that to this day. For decades, for centuries, women could just be violated and just not even be heard. I mean, if a man was powerful enough, they can just shut you down. So with that being said, let's fast forward to 2017 when this whole thing with Harvey Weinstein started to go down. The Me Too movement was coming after him. All these actresses were saying, coming out of the woodworks, yeah, he's a monster. That dude's a monster. If you were a fan of Entourage, you saw a version of Harvey Weinstein that Harvey was not happy with, but I think was probably an accurate portrayal of him. But you have all these women and powerful women in Hollywood coming out and saying, yes, this man did these horrible things, and then the stories are just you know the old news. So the new news. One of his accusers, Asia Argento, she was in the first XXX movie, the one with Vin Diesel. That's probably the most popular movie you probably know her from. One of the Me Too movement's first Hollywood supporters who came out and accused Harvey Weinstein of what he's been found guilty of doing, and she said that it was some sexual encounters between the two of them. Some of it was consensual, but either way it goes, we're talking about two adults, but we're also talking about a person with so much power over the other person that it's just not, unless you're like legitimately courting a person and being upright about it and for real about it. But if you're just playing games with that person's career, do it or else, then you just what the hell, man, you're just an asshole, right? Men or women, right? I mean, I don't care who you are. If you're that powerful and whatnot, and you got to use that power, you can have any person in the world you want. You got to play those games. You're sick. Something's wrong with you. So something's wrong with you if you are like that. So so Asia Argento was one of the people who accused him of being an asshole, and he was found guilty of being an asshole. And the Me Too movement, everybody rejoices. Yeah, you know what? Another one bites the dust. We're probably making strides. We're marching forth, and we're taking it to the streets. Right here we go with the new news. Let's go. Let's talk about. Here's the new news. Now, Asia Argento herself is being accused of sexual assault. Now, this is what everybody's talking about. A lot of people are talking about this. I don't know if you know about this, but a lot of people are talking about this. It's not breaking on my blog. It's not just breaking on my channel, but it's breaking. But the question I have is, enough people talking about this. This came up on the John Campea movie blog. Somebody wrote in and was like, is anybody really talking about this? Is the Me Too people talking about this? Are liberals talking about this? Who's talking about this? Nobody's talking about this. Why are we talking about this? And he made up a good point. He's like, look, I'm aware of the story, so obviously people are talking about it. And I give John Campea credit for that. I wasn't even aware of the story until I heard him talking about that. So I delved into it. I'm like, whoa. So look, I'm a firm believer in the power of hypocrisy. The universe always tends to unfold and punish those hypocrites. I am a hypocrite in a lot of things that you will never, ever, ever find out about, right? So what do I do as that hypocrite? I do not put myself out there, like that. If I know that I did a bunch of stuff that's questionable and stuff, if I was a low down dirty dog or whatever, a cheater and a scoundrel and whatnot, would I get in your face and be like, you need to clean up your life. You need to clean up your act. You need to stop doing this. You need to stop doing that. You need to do better with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing nothing with yourself. What you doing with yourself? You ain't doing nothing. What you doing? Stop being so dirty. Stop being so low down. Stop being a dog. Stop being a this. Stop being a that. No, I would not, because the one thing that people, hey, I repeat, I've said it before, I'll say it again. One of the greatest scenes in film was Green Goblin telling Spider-Man and the Sam Raimi, the things that people love more than a hero is to see a hero fall, die trying. They love it, because if you come up in my face with all that bullshit and that judgmental, holier than thou. I'm not saying that that's what she did. I'm giving another example. I'm not saying this is what Asia Argento did, but I'm saying with people in general and other situations. You come at me with this preachy, you doing this, you need to stop doing this, you need to live like this, you need to do this, and you need to live your life like, the way I live my life and act like me because I walk on water or whatever the situation may be. And then I see a chink in your armor. I see a little bit of hypocrisy in your history. I see a little bit of a little hypocrisy that I can throw some mud back at you. Throw glass houses throwing stones. I revel in it. I revel. I'm not the kind of guy who believes in revenge, but vengeance. Oh, yes. Vengeance all day. Air day, any day of the week, 365, 24/8. I am not playing when it comes to when you've been in my face with your preaching, and it turns out that you've been sinning, then I'm a winning. That's just how it is. People love to throw it back in your face. So now let's go back to the subject at hand. Asia Argento. Should she have put herself out there and fighting Harvey Weinstein? Maybe not. Maybe, but if I feel like if you knew for a fact, because she was later accused of, here we go, I don't know if have I mentioned this yet? No, she was accused of sexual assaulting a minor. Was it Jimmy Bennett? A co-star of hers on a couple projects that she met when he was 7. Allegedly had sex with at 17. Allegedly, there's a text that was released by TMZ saying how she was like, I don't know, he was a minor when I. But even if you didn't know he was a minor, look at the pictures that she's taking with these. Now, after you watch this, look this up on Google. Put it side by side on the video. Look this up. You type in her name, you type in his name. TMZ showed a released video, a photo from him, showing them in bed together. But besides that, there's another photo of her just all hugged up on him. I mean, come on. I mean, there was something going on. And then saying that there was a payment of $380,000 to silence him. That's coming from a man who's not even alive anymore. I mean, a lot of this stuff to me is kind of crazy at best. So if you knew that you were the type of person who had this one scandal in your closet, for example, if I was a former kleptomaniac who loved to steal and snatch purses or something and never got caught, would I like a couple of years later come out of the woodwork, 20 years, 15 years later, how many years later, come out of the woodworks and be like, I want to punish all the people who are out there snatching purses, robbing banks, and doing this and stealing. Thou shalt not steal. Don't steal. You shouldn't. This person stole from me. I want him punished. Maybe in private I might, but in public, no. Because if I make myself the poster child of that, you leave yourself open to public opinion trying to turn the screws on you. They will look at any and everything that you've done. Worse than that, even if they don't find it, someone that you know you've done something with or have witnessed something that you have done it's very rare for them to resist the urge and the temptation, especially when they're not doing as well, or if they feel like they've been. Look at all the people that accused the president of sexual assault after he bashed on Hillary Clinton for bashing on the women that accused her husband. It's like, hold on, wait. You ain't you might be saying something that might be true, but you are far from the poster child of somebody who should be leading this fight. That's the point, right there. If you know that though the message is good, look deep in yourself and ask, am I the person that's right to deliver said message? Would it be better suited for someone else who, if they know that they don't have, or maybe hopefully they don't, also have a blemish in their resume? Let them release it. There was a bunch of women who already had came out to accuse Harvey Weinstein. I think she was one of the first, but she shouldn't. If she knew that was a problem in her past, she shouldn't have come out at all. She should have just let. But at the same time, you never know. And hindsight is always 20/20. Maybe because she was one of the first people to come out, that gave courage to everybody else after her to come out. Maybe none of the other women after her would have said anything. So maybe that was just that cross to bear. You had to take that hit. And there you go. I know I wouldn't have. I'm just saying. Know a lot about a little about a lot of things. But what I do know is I would never put myself out like this. But I'd like to know what you guys think about this. What would you have done it? Would you, if you knew there was something in your past, like what was in Miss Argento's past, would you have come out? And I mean, I could only say yes if I had already confessed to it and been punished for it or whatever. That goes back into the Guardians of the Galaxy, the director. He's being punished for something that he already had apologized for and never done again since years ago. So it's like, do we want people to evolve and learn? We say, hey, this stuff that you do in the dark needs to come out into the light. You need to be punished for such and such and such and such. Okay, he was. And he brought that out to light. And he was like, you know what, this is dumb. I'm not doing this anymore. But yet now he's getting punished again for it. That's different. But that's also a different topic. So let me know what you guys think on either one. Let me know. So on the old news, new news with Miss Asia Argento and the Jimmy Bennett situation. Let me know what you guys think. Am I way off bases on this? Should she still have come out and led the fight, even though she was destined to take this hit? Whether she's guilty or not doesn't matter, because in the MeToo movement, we believe the accuser. That needs to stay consistent, in my opinion. Otherwise, what's it all for? So just let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna move on to the next thing. So moving on to what's next on the rundown for the movie show. Well, in the same vein of everything, we got the HAPs. So what's the HAPs? That's the question. What's the HAPs? That's it's slang for what's happening, right? No, not the old TV show. What's happening now? The HAPs, and that's to me, it's an acronym for Hollywood and politics, right? So let's stay on the same subject line. Women who are accused of sexual assault. This is something I've been saying. I might not have said it on this show. I think I have. Maybe I have not. But I've been saying for a long time, since Aziz Ansari was accused, and there's some gray areas on this. Some people feel like he shouldn't be hurt by this. Some people say he definitely should. And there's some people out there who don't care if someone who is accused gets accused and gets their reputation tarnished. If it means that people who actually are guilty of these things get hit, then people who are innocent of it, they say, I don't care. And that's wrong. Like, you know how many people in the world have been lynched for false accusations? Tubbs was killed, and that girl lied about getting whistled at, and that little boy was murdered, dragged out of his home and murdered. But it launched the civil rights movement. So, I mean, but she lied. That boy didn't have to die. But so when somebody gets accused, and in the Me Too movement, you're supposed to believe the accusing. All you see, if 9 times out of 10, you're going to see is a man who did something against a woman. Because 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what happened. But people in power in general, absolute power corrupts absolute. You do see, there are movies and there are stories out there where women in power treat men like dogs. Hell, Demi Moore and Michael Douglas. I mean, she was lying her butt off and sexually assaulting him. These things have happened in the business world. They're not reported as much because men are ashamed of being looked at in a certain way. The stigma on men is a little bit different, where women who are treated this way and because of that stigma of being a macho man and whatnot, men are known to suppress a woman's voice when they have a legitimate accusation. But in the reverse situation, when a woman is in a powerful situation and a man is put in the subordinate or in the inferior situation and is taking advantage of by a powerful woman, men are silent and they report it less because they are afraid of being looked at as weak by other men. It's the wheel just keeps going round and round and round. But I've been saying for a long time, for the Me Too movement to have legitimacy, the women that have been accused of these things in powerful positions in Hollywood, wherever it is, actresses, actors, and whatnot. That's why, hey, maybe this is why Argento is now coming up and this. Hell, Alyssa Mack from Smallville was trying to recruit women to be sex slaves in this cult. That's sexual assault. Man, that's aggressive. Am I right about it? Because she went down for that, right? And there was a lot of actresses that came out in the woodworks against her. Like, yeah, that was kind of weird, man. She was weird. She was going to try to brand me and do these things to me. And these stories aren't new. I'm still to this day shocked at how many women are getting arrested for having sex with a minor, from being a teacher or whatever the situation is. I'm fascinated with that story, and probably at a very, very distasteful level. But that phenomenon fascinates me. The fact that more and more teachers, because this stuff used to go on for years and years and years. There were local stories, word around the town. People talked about it. The accusers would face the accused, years later and all that. But or parents that found out about it would beat the crap out of some dude, But it stayed mostly local. Then all of a sudden, with TV cameras and broadcasting, radio, and all that stuff, and the stories started to get out more, newspapers, things like that. When the internet comes out, it boom, social media, boom, it explodes. And now it feels like all you're seeing everywhere is like a teacher of the week, a villain of the week, of somebody in Florida or whatever the state is, in Utah, of a teacher, usually blonde for the most part. Weird, right? But women of all and men of all shapes and sizes and color and whatnot are all doing it. Have done it. But I'm not. There's a lot of them who dyed their hair blondes for some weird reason. I'm just gonna call it like I say. Like I'm gonna call it like I saw it. It's just weird. And how many of these people are getting caught doing this, and they're still doing it? The one I think it was the Tampa one where the husband was like listening to the recorded conversation that the student had with his ex-wife, and she was like, "Promise you're not gonna tell nobody when I give you this, right?" And she was like, "Pinky promise." Like even he said, dude, even her voice sounded way off. There's something in the brain that's right there's like they're missing something. They felt like they lost something. Maybe they weren't as popular. They felt like they should have been, or maybe they were the most popular person in school back in the day, and they're trying to recapture that by sneaking around with his boy. He flirt. I'm his teacher. He gave me that look, and he had that Letterman jacket on, and I've always wanted to give the dude with the Letterman jacket. And you know what? I'll give you this. Just don't tell nobody. That's when you're gonna get caught. When you tell a 16-year-old boy, just don't tell nobody. Dude, if you haven't seen Saturday Night Live, the sketch with the teacher sex scandal, that sums it up purposely. I couldn't wait to tell everybody. They're gonna tell. I'm 16 years old. You know how many teachers I was attracted to when I was in high school that I wanted to, and if I would have, if any one of the ones that I was attracted to, that if I would have had a kind of relationship with or did anything with, I'd have told somebody. Somebody would have known, and then that person would have told somebody else. And it happened in my high school. Some teacher got caught. It was a guy who was inappropriate with a young girl. But the truth always comes out there. What goes on in the dark, it's gonna come out in the light. Am I right about it? So if this happens. So for this to happen to Harvey Weinstein, Aziz Ansari, R. Kelly, and you name it, all these aggressive men, all these accused men who were accused of being aggressive, sexually assaulting women, odds are there's a woman out there who did the same thing. and I'm surprised that it hasn't been more by now. Because look at the level that is always being reported on the news when it's a teacher-student situation. There are a lot of powerful women out there, and a lot of women who have been accused of sexual assault. There was a woman who had a machete to her ex-boyfriend and made him have sex with her and stuff. I mean, it happens. So I'm just surprised that I'm not saying that I want these things to be happening and that I want that, but if it has happened, the story should come out. Don't be accused. Hey, look. I used to work overseas in Iraq for KBR. When I first got there, we didn't have our own private living quarters yet. We were all in what was called a chicken coop, where it was a long metal container, like housing with inside it was like 6 dividers on one side and 6 dividers on the left side, 6 dividers on the right side with beds in between. So 6 beds on this side, 6 beds on that side, and it was all guys. We were all in there. And they carried we were working in Iraq, so it was hot as hell. So at night they cranked the indoor AC like to sub-zero. I remember one time I was trying to stay warm, but I was cold as hell. I had a sheet instead of a blanket, and I was freezing my balls off. So I needed to warm up. So I went outside, to stand out on the porch to warm myself up. And there was a guy. It was an older guy. I don't know the guy's name. He was an old weird guy. He was smoking a cigarette out there. And I just came out there to warm up. I was like, just warm my shoulders up. And he goes, oh yeah, coming out warm. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, it's cold in there, man. So, so I had to come out and warm up. And he has a cigarette on. He's like, you can tell. I guess he was testing me. So I guess he thought I was a mark or whatever, right? So he goes, I was like, yeah, I'm shooting real cold. He was like, oh yeah, you're cold, huh? Okay. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, this dude sidles up next to me right behind me, starts rubbing me on my shoulders. And he's like, yeah, you like that? No? I'm like, the fuck are you doing? Yeah, I freak out. Like, well, no, I'm uncomfortable with that, dude. That's okay if that's who you are, but don't do that, to me. And I told him right there, so I'm sorry, get kind of lonely. I'm like, all right, I don't want to hear that. And I went right back in the room, went right back to sleep. Like as if I just saw Candyman. And freaked me out. And anytime I saw him, he avoided me like the plague. Like he kept his eyes down. He was like, he had that don't tell nobody look. Oh, man, you don't think I told? I went to the very first day, dude. That dude tried to rub my shoulders. Man, what's wrong with that guy? And then the guy I told was like, I knew something was up with that dude, man. Oh man, like guys are acting weird, man. What's going on? I'm like, nothing ever happened to him. He didn't get jumped or beat up. I didn't report him to HR and anything, because it was like my first or second day there. I didn't know what was going on and whatnot. Hell, I didn't even know where HR was at the time. That was my second day there. I was in Iraq. I didn't know how these people were, what was going to happen, whatnot. I knew I was going to get my own private living quarters eventually. A couple of days later, I did, and never saw the dude ever again. And I was out there for 6 years. I never saw that guy ever again. But am I ashamed to tell that story? No. I mean, could it have been worse? Heck yeah, it could have been real bad if it would have been in a different situation. Who knows what that guy was capable of, right? I mean, it wouldn't have been easy I wouldn't have made it easy for him. You test me all you want to. It's gonna be a fight. But it was embarrassing and all that other stuff, and frightening and all, at the same time. So, but But I'm telling you the story. I mean, I'm publicly speaking about it for the first time in my life. Because it happened. I don't know the guy's name. I can't prove it. And nothing that, luckily for me, nothing bad happened, right? But there it is. So even it can happen to anybody. And my question is, when it's a situation where, because we already see like a similar situation with Terry Crews, who was assaulted by a producer, and he accused him and said, hey, this guy did this thing to me right in front of his wife. And 50 Cent made fun of him like a dumbass. But when the situation is a woman doing this to a man, what will the movement do? Will they respond the same way? I don't know. I mean, hopefully they will, because it's about consistency. You cannot show favoritism like that. That's not what feminism is about. You can't protect her if she's guilty of this because she's a woman. That's the opposite of feminism, and that's sexism right there. You're not trying to fight for equality. You're trying to tip the scales. And you can't do that. So that's my thoughts about it. What are your thoughts about that? That's all I'll share about it. What do you think about my story? I shared it out here. Do you have any similar situation? Do you want to get that out there? Let me know, and I'll just talk about it. Put it in the box. Comment below, and let's just move on to the next story. So the next thing that I want to get into is I want to talk about rumors and specs. This is the next segment. This is rumors and specs. So rumors. What is rumors and specs? You guys know what rumors and specs are. It's whenever there's something happening in Hollywood and in the entertainment world, and there's nothing really confirmed yet. It's just a lot of people just spreading rumors and speculating on what is to come. So the big thing that's happening right now is Robocop. Robocop 2 is coming, and I'm going to do a whole. Me and Sean did a whole video about this, and I'm not going to put that on here because already this is run long. I'll give a little sample of it right now and let you guys see a little bit of it, but I want you to check the video out when I do the little segment piece of it, and you can check it out there later. But for now, here's a little bit about what we talked about.
But now, if we can get everything in line, we will have the original writers, the original star of the original movie. Unfortunately, we won't get Paul Verhoeven, who is I think he's kind of semi-retired, who's the director who did, Robocop and Basic Instinct and Total Recall and Starship Troopers and things like that. He would be a fit for this, but I don't think in a million years he would agree to do another Robocop movie. What do you think this movie is going to be about, Chris?
I guess that goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago.
And we prophesized about this.
I guess it depends. Is this going to be taking place a couple of years after the first RoboCop? If so, I don't think Peter Weller would be the best choice. I think they should recast.
If it's very close.
If it's very close in the timeline to the original. If it does take place, and this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that it does take place. How long ago did RoboCop 1 come out? 88, 89?
It was shot in 86, came out in 87.
Okay, shot in 86.
31 years ago.
Exactly. So 31 years later, if we have a 30-year-old RoboCop, then yes, that would be interesting because it was already set in the not too distant future.
I believe it was set in the year 2020 something originally.
So 2020 something. I mean, they were limited by the technology of the 80s to make the movie.
Ford Tauruses.
But for what they did,
it was
brilliant. I think the director was brilliant in the fact that he simplified it because
made it a feasible.
An obtainable future where you weren't like Back to the Future 2 in this thing with hoverboards and things like
feasible.
That. Robots, artificial intelligence,
drones, and automatons.
All right, so that was rumors and specs. Now, for the last segment, I want to go into we got your mail. So when we got your mail, whenever I get mail about movie questions, or if you have a question for me, if you have a comment for me or any of our social media, I'll read them out right here. And I have nothing new right now, so what I will do is I'll comment on something that I saw in my news feed. So the thing that I saw on the news feed was the president's interview on Fox, where he made a comment about whether or not what would happen if he got impeached. Now, the funny thing about it is this man said that he said, I really believe that if I was impeached, I believe the stock market would crash and many, many people would go poor. And this moment I heard that, I was like, okay, let me comment on that. Wow, son. Wow. Somebody's got a high opinion of themselves. You really feeling yourself, bro. And the second thing I thought of was, damn, homie, you just really dissed your vice president. You got no faith in your vice president, huh? Because everybody, look, you don't know. If you're one of these guys who hates Trump, you want to impeach Trump, you're not going to get a Democrat. I mean, Obama's not coming back because you impeach Trump. You don't go backwards. Oh, hey, we just impeached. That means the last administration gets another couple months. No, or Hillary, she would have been the president, so let's make her. That's not what's going to happen. There's a vice president, and that's Michael Pence. That's Mike Pence. So for the president to say, if I ever got impeached, the stock market would crash. Women would be in the streets crying. Dogs barking. Moon would crash into the ocean. The mountains would crumble into the sea. When the night. I'm telling you, dude, that's what he said. Pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he said. I'm thinking, damn, Mike, you gonna let him talk about your presidency like that? That's what I was thinking the whole time. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, like, you gonna just take that? I'm like, if I worked for Mike Pence in the vice president's office, I'm like, Trump just told everybody that if you were the president, that everybody would be poor, right? He just said that. He said, if I get impeached, the stock market would crash. Everybody would be poor. Even though the national debt is the highest level since World War II, and he promised that it would be down in his first year, but it's not. Everybody would be poor. Mike Pence ain't got nothing on my presidency. Mike Pence, President Pence, fuck President Pence. Believe me. All y'all would suffer. It felt like a threat to me. I'm gonna tell you right now. It felt like a threat. It felt like I'm gonna launch the nukes. I'm gonna push the PO button. I'm gonna push the PO button. Not only will all y'all middle class people who are poor, y'all poor. No, you're about to be po. You're going to lose the O and the R. I'm going to push it. Po. You're going to be po for the rest of your life. If I get impeached, if I resign, that's a different story. I'm still going to push the button. If I get something happens to me, like in the bad way, like if I don't get reelected for that another 4 years, because I want that presidential life, he'll still get a library. He would still get a library, I would think. But do we need a 46 within the same first term like that? No, we don't need a 46 president like that. No, we can't. Just running the numbers up, man. No, that's just crazy, right? So let the man finish his term. Or impeach him. I don't care. I don't. The man just said that if he wasn't president, he's going right back to his campaign. Only I can fix it, folks. I'm going to pick the best people. They all getting accused. They all pleading guilty to crimes. But they the best people. And if I don't run the country, if the vice president that I picked becomes the president, you're going to be poor. Like, why is this man even talking about loyalty when he disses his own people? I picked the best people. They might be going to jail, but they were the best. Pence might be my vice president, but the stock market going to crash if he becomes president. Believe me. That's how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? That was crazy. And that's all I got to say about it. So next time I'm going to read through mails that are more directed to the channel and whatever. But I thought that was a funny thing to talk about. I thought that was kind of cool. So I wanted to talk about it right here on We Got Your Mail. So let me know what you guys think. Hit the comment button. Let me know. That's the show. That's the movie show. And I want to thank you guys for watching. If you come and subscribe, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. That's how everything gets talked about. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about the story and everything that I shared, and let me know what you think about the top the old news, new news, the HAPs, rumors and specs, and of course on We Got Your Mail. Let me know what you guys think. Put it in the box, guys. Become a subscriber. Hit that bell. Ring my bell anytime you want. And then till next time, guys.